Hello and welcome. I'm joined by former NYCFC midfielder and Costa Rican international Rodney Wallace. Rodney, how are you doing, my friend?
Fantastic. I couldn't be happier to be here. Couldn't be happier to have the opportunity to talk to the NYCFC family.
Are you ready to take a walk down memory lane with me?
Let's roll.
So you joined the club in 2017 from Recife. I think I'm saying that. Recife? You're the expert. Perfect.
Yes, you're saying it right.
How exactly did
you got a little flavor to you, huh?
Hey. Un poquito. Oh. How did that move to New York come about?
That move to New York came about right after I was done with the Recife season. I was looking to leave Brazil. I loved the opportunity that I got there, and I loved that club still with everything in my heart, how they took me in and how much success there was that whole year personally and the growth of the team. But I also wanted a new challenge, and it wasn't the time for my family and I to stay in Brazil for a long period of time. So we decided to start making our plans to come back to the States. And that's when New York came about. It was due to the fact that Rob was my coach at University of Maryland. So we had a conversation, and it was one of those things where he was like, well, why not here? And then we started to get that process going. And I think, well, it is because he is a trusted source that the rest of the staff, they took a look, and all of that stuff happened. That internal things happened, and then all of a sudden I'm on the phone with Claudio Reyna and I'm on the phone with Patrick Vieira in my basement. I'm just like, this is unbelievable. So after that, we had to make it work, and it was special.
I mean, if there were any doubts that first season, I think you got 4 goals, 6 assists. You definitively showed what you could do. As you came into the club, you mentioned Patrick there. What was your relationship like with him? How did that manifest?
Oh, I mean, it was instant, and that was due to the fact that the players, I asked questions. When I first got there, I was blessed to have Matarrita with me, and Ethan and people that I already had a relationship with, people that I was close to. So talking to them and figuring out how Patrick operates, what's he like off the field, how does he treat the players. They were just telling me everything's positive. And then from the information that I was taking in from him, I was like, yo, this guy he's personable, but he is straight to business, and the attention to details and the way that he ran the club from top to bottom was special, and it allowed every single player to almost play for him. However he wanted you to play, it was one of those things where you said, all right, like, let's go, General, like, whatever, because you knew he would have your back at any moment.
And that team was incredibly successful in your first year as well in the regular season. When you look back and try to deconstruct that, what do you think were the central themes to why that team was so successful?
I just believe we had an understanding from the get-go, from the jump, that we were going to play this way. And the message was engraved to us not only by Patrick, it was engraved to us by his assistants, Latancio, Christian Wilson, Robert Dugan. So those guys were working just as hard to ingrain, Dan Bradley too. So they were just making sure that was the main thing. And then we had David, then we had Andrea, and having those players on the field, you knew you had to follow the code, because they're on the field. So you have to do exactly as is, because you want to perform and you want to be on the pitch. So that was the basis of it. Then we had a good leadership group and we had a good mix of the leadership, a little bit of experience, a lot of experience, and then we had less experience, a lot of skill, a lot of ability. So all of those things made everybody better, and we just had a solid squad that had ambition to win a championship. That was the message the whole year, and that was the only thing in our minds. How can we get to the finals? Every single game was an opportunity for you to perform, because I feel like eyes were on us at that time. As you know, they never expected us to be as good until we started to get on the field, and we were pinging it. Like, we were just balling, and people started taking notice. From the first game against Orlando, they were like, okay, this team's for real, because we were playing a certain style of soccer that was attractive, and we wanted to score goals and keep the ball. So that team was special for sure.
2018 also saw a new coach come in Domènec Torrent. Can you talk to me a little bit about your relationship with him and how you felt things went with Dome?
When he came in, it was an interesting period. Personally, I had just come back from Russia. It was an interesting process because his coaching methods were different, and you just had to respect it. And then that year, I was also not at 100%, and I knew it. So I was doing everything possible from what I had in me to help the team. So I believe that my role changed from a mental standpoint. I just had to figure out what was going to work for me in order for me to really enjoy my football here.
So we talked about Russia, we've talked about Brazil, New York City. What did you enjoy most about living in New York City?
Woo! New York City. I hold it close to my heart as well. My family does too. They loved it. I think New York gave us it was like a breath of fresh air for all of us. Myself, my wife, at the time, Ivy. And it was a time of our lives where we had been abroad and we had each other. So when we came to the city, we still had each other, but we were experiencing new things that felt amazing. And me being able to go to training and coming and being able to drive to training with my boy Ethan, and coming back with him, just jokes and serious conversations, sometimes not even talking, but that experience was super dope. And then coming back home, my family's super happy doing whatever it is that they did. My kid went to school, and then they, I guess, went to the park, and those are things that they'll always remember, but they gave us more than we had imagined. So New York City for sure opened up a lot of doors mentally. It just just exploded. It was cool.
Are there any particular memories of your time with NYCFC that stick out as really ones that you're fond of?
So many.
Are we going to say the goal against Atlanta? With the back heel?
The Atlanta game was crazy. That Atlanta game was madness. I don't know what happened to me, bro, but and we were on. I think it was the second half. We kind of took over that game from the beginning. And I think it was the fact that Atlanta had beaten us in Atlanta. So then when they came back, we weren't going to let that happen again, because Atlanta was nice. Like, they were a team that compared to us in the style of play, in the weight of the players, things like that. So that was a cool match. But I think my first game at home it felt just as good, because it was freezing, but we were balling, and I was able to contribute to that. I think it was Montreal. I believe I got a goal. And then the next game, even though it was freezing again, it was just that new energy, and we were all excited to play with each other. That was what it was. It was like, man, I can't wait to connect these passes that we've been doing in training to apply them into the game, and that's what we did when we first came out in that season.
Mm. And since you've left New York and finished playing, have you stayed in touch with many of the guys in the locker room or anyone in particular?
Yeah, no, I feel like it's a close group. Something there was something about the organization in general that allows you to feel as if really everybody's family. At least when I was there, and that group is still there, even with like staff or whoever it is. Like even like talking to Constantine or talking to Danny, like just whoever it is, like Katie, just like Jose, just like people that are there, and they mean a lot, right? So those things like really never leave. And then within the players, like I was just talking to Jack about something, just like joking around, and those relationships are there, and it's a beautiful thing because it doesn't happen often to that magnitude within one club, I believe.
Mm. It certainly seems like a special situation to have been a part of. In terms of your post-playing career, I think you have one of the most interesting stories I've come across. Let's start with Rewind Rodney, easy for me to say. How did that all come about as something that you wanted to get involved in and invested in?
So that came about because I was injured, because I felt terrible. And this was at the end of 2017. I was just like, whoa, after a game, I couldn't move. I had to do a whole reboot at halftime to come back and play, because after a while I was in so much pain, and I couldn't figure out what it was at first. Then we figured out, it's like, okay, like your hips, bro, like we got to take care of them. So then that's kind of when I started to feel that pain, and I was like, okay, I got to figure out what's going to work for me. And then we found CBD. We didn't really know much about it, but we heard what a lot of people had heard about the healing component of it, and we found a brand that we liked, and it worked. And I was like, whoa, this is madness. How does this work? So we started to do research, and we started to work on Rewind, and then 2020 January we launched it. We were really out there looking to make an impact with COVID, and now we're in a position where we learned a lot from that, and now we know where we want to take the company to the next phase. So Rewind is it's now a futsal team too. So Rewind has now become, it's just more than CBD, and that was the mindset of it. But now we're starting to really put it into action, and it's cool to see the physical version of it.
And when you're not helping people with aches and pains, you're an analyst now as well. That seems like a really fun job as well. How are you enjoying going into analysis?
It's fun, and you have to respect it. That's one thing I've learned. You have to respect every time you get on the microphone or the screen. You have to respect it, because if you're talking about the game, you want to give the viewers the proper information. I don't want to sit in front of the TV and get terrible information, or information that is not helping me while I'm watching this game. So I think you have to put yourself in the perspective of the viewer while being yourself, while also elevating, not elevating the game, but making sure that the viewers are engaged just as much as you are invested. So you have to invest into the game, so then they're able to invest in it, and then it keeps coming back. So it's fun. It's fun to learn every single time I'm doing a game. It's a new opportunity for me to get better. So it's like, okay, this is another rep. This is another opportunity. So having the opportunity to do that, Fox has given me an amazing platform for me to do that. Liga MX, MLS. So for sure, I'm grateful for them. And I'm doing them in Spanish too, which I never thought I would do. So it's cool, right? So that's different because now I'm utilizing one of the reasons why I came to this country, or where my parents really made the sacrifice to bring us here. So I could learn the language and get opportunities from English, but then realizing that the Costa Rican in you can also bring you so many gifts. So it's all been rewarding, in my opinion.
Now, if we look back to last year, you were also at MLS Cup. How was that as an experience? Because on the one hand, you played for Portland, you had a very memorable MLS Cup with Portland, but you also had time in New York with NYCFC. How was your experience of MLS Cup last year?
Surreal. It was surreal. It was such a huge honor to represent not only the league, like that was a super dope opportunity, but I mean, to represent both teams, it was, I mean, it couldn't be any more perfect, right? And it's crazy to see the process of it. It's like, oh wow, like it's really about to happen. You see the whole setup of the playoffs, and then one team drops out, and then they win, and then it's like, oh, it's getting close to it, and it happened. And next thing you know, I'm handing out the game ball of these two teams that I love, and I felt the players would walk past me when right before the anthem, and it's like, whoa, your boys are just like walking by you, so focused on a championship to win, like that big trophy over there, and it just gives you the chills because you know they're so ready. And it was cool for me to basically exchange that energy with some of them. I didn't really want to focus on looking at them. It wasn't about me at all. But I was like, I gotta feel that, and I did. It was super cool.
And did you get to catch up with any of the fans either before or after all of the celebrations and everything?
Yeah. So I caught up with a lot of the fans from Portland. I caught up with them. They had events, and it was a celebration for Portland and the city and the fans, and it was a party for everyone. So it was nice to be able to go and support those people that you've known for a long time. Portland also feels like home to me, so being able to dip into checking out this event or seeing this group of people or whatever, that was cool. And then I was at the hotel, and the New York fans were there as well, and it was great to get their perspective on how they felt about it. People had a lot of questions about who I was rooting for, and
we know the answer. Obviously, it was.
Oh, good job, New York! We did it. We did it.
We did.
We did it. Right. Like, what are you guys gonna say? Yeah, I'm happy. I'm super excited. It felt as if I was a part of I would say the celebration. I didn't have anything to do with that trophy, but like to be able to feel the joy for everybody else that had just won that, like seeing it in their eyes, and like it's nice to see your family win, right?
I like that. And I couldn't let you go without asking just about the fans themselves. Is there any message you've got for them? Because when we mentioned this in the office and everyone's been like giving my best. Everyone is so positive about their experience with you. I'm curious if you have a message back to the fans that you left here in New York. Yeah.
I mean, you know what? I actually want to connect more with the New York fans. You live in different boroughs, and you play at Yankee Stadium. We have a really good fan base in New York. It's just not as easy for everybody to get together. We're blessed with the fact that the team is able to be that bridge with whether it's community work, whether it's events directly connected to the fans. But I'd definitely like to get connected with them in a deeper level, because I feel like I will always want to give back to the club. So the better a relationship I can have with the fans, and the more understanding I can have on how they view the team and the history of, the club, things like that. That's also important, because the fans give a lot to the team. They invest their time, they invest their money, they invest their feelings, and you want to have a good relationship, because it's so much bigger than the team. Like I said, the community.
Rodney Wallace, thank you very much for taking the time to catch up.
Thank you. Appreciate y'all.